Hey everybody, it's Galmanex and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today's video is going to be another live streamed draft. You can check the link in the description below to find the Twitch channel where it was streamed live. I'll be streaming again tonight, but without further ado, let's just get into the draft. Oh, this pack is good. This pack is good. I don't think Shigeki is very good. It seems really slow, but it is a lot of value over time. Spit more lands onto the board and then eventually return a bunch of cards from grave to hand. Life of Toshiro Umezawa is really good. It's super flexible. If you manage to kill any creature with the -1/-1, you're living the dream. There are a lot of good creatures to kill. You can kill an Exemplar, you can kill an Iron Apprentice, you can kill the 1/1 that taps for mana, you can kill the Rabbit Battery. So if you manage to kill someone with the -1/-1, you're living the dream. Because then you're killing a creature and getting a 2/3 eventually, and probably gaining some life in the middle or dealing some extra damage to your opponent. And it's really flexible, so even if you don't do that, you're still doing things. So I really like Life of Toshiro Umezawa. And I think I'm going to take it over just the great removal like Touch the Spirit Realm, because this has such high potential upside, and the absolute worst it can be is gain 4 life, make a 2/3. It just does it slowly. So I'm going to take Life of Toshiro Umezawa. And actually that colorless card was really good too, that vehicle. Completely didn't notice it till I already took Life of Toshiro Umezawa. Maybe would have considered that more highly had I noticed it. So Kami of Restless Shadows, very slow. Debt to the Kami. Not really going to hit what you want most of the time. It's going to be great when you do, though. I think I like Bronze Plate Boar here. A 3-mana 3/2 Trampler on curve is going to be scary, and the reconfigure cost makes this card very good. It turns into a Dwarven Hammer from Kaldheim if you've played with that card. If you have not played with that card, it's super good. It's 5 mana to equip something with +3/+0 trample. That card was like super good because you turned all like your 1/1s and stuff into 4/1s, and then they were really hard to block. Just getting value off of your early creatures in the late game. So I really like Bronze Plate Boar, and that is what I shall go with here. Pick 3 now. We are currently red and black, and Circuit Mender combos really well with a lot of red cards in the set and a lot of black cards in the set. Combos super well with any ninjutsu cards in black or any sacrifice outlets in red or black. So I like Circuit Mender a lot here. It's also colorless, so even if we completely change what we're going for, it's going to work well. That being said, there's also Kami's Flare, which is great removal. 2 mana instant speed, 3 damage, potentially also dealing 2 to your opponent. Unforgiving one could be cool if you have a lot of modified cards, but it's definitely a lot less flexible than the Circuit Mender or even the Kami's Flare. So I think it's between Kami's Flare and Circuit Mender to me, and I really don't know which it is. I think I'm going to go Kami's Flare. Actually, you know what? I'm going Circuit Mender. I don't know. It's really early in the format to try to tell between those. How highly you need to draft removal is something that I think I'll learn as things progress. Not certain right now. So Dragonspark Reactor is really fun because it's a bit of a slow removal spell, but if you have enough artifacts in your deck, it's potentially a win condition. Because it's a removal spell that's damaging our opponent and their creature. So it gets a charge counter for each artifact we play, and then it deals damage equal to the number of charge counters when we sacrifice it. So if we play 1,000,000 artifacts, we do 1,000,000 damage to our opponent, and I'm the kind of player that kind of wants to play 1,000,000 artifacts. So I'm going to try a Dragonspark Reactor here, potentially. The more notable cards that are just good in general, even if you're not an absolute dork like I am, would have been like the green channel cards, like the Tanuki there and stuff. Definitely like those a lot. Here's going to be a pretty easy Flame Discharge. Excellent removal. 1 red and X to do X to a creature Planeswalker. If you have a modified creature, then you do X +2 instead, so it's just like a shock with a ton of upside if you have a modified creature. I did like the Shadow Walker a lot, because ninjutsuing this out on turn 4 is always just a huge amount of damage that early in the game. And Unstoppable Ogre is cool, but I think it's going to be the great removal of Flame Discharge first. Take those kind of cards a little later. So we're definitely red. We're not necessarily black. We have one good black card here. We could go down like blue-red artifacts. That would be good with how many, artifact synergistic red cards we have right now. But we could also just end up going red-black artifacts again. And here I think I'm just going to take the great red card, Seismic Wave. Sometimes this card absolutely goes off and kills a bunch of your opponent's cards, but worst case scenario, 3 mana for 2 damage to any target is pretty good, and most of the time it's like 3 mana for 3 damage to one of their non-artifact creatures. So I like Seismic Wave quite a bit. really huge upside in the right position, and pretty good no matter what. There is a Virus Beetle for Rakdos Sack, that'd be good. There's a Voltage Surge, which is another good removal spell, but I think Seismic Wave is cooler and a little better, most likely. I can't stress enough how awesome it is to have like an artifact themed set again. I love playing around with artifacts, especially colored artifacts, and we don't get a lot of red artifacts. They've started doing that recently, where red-blue artifacts is like a thing. So it's really cool to get more like red-blue artifact stuff. And also really weird to get more green artifacts like Web Spinner Cuff. What else is here? Reckoner's Bargain is probably just solid in red-black. Nice sacrifice card. Gain some life draw too. Secluded Courtyard, I'm not going to play Tribal. Ecologist Terrarium's fine, especially if you try to go 3-color. Really don't want the Colossus. I don't really think I want to take a green card, but we could end up in green-red again, and Web Spinner Cuff makes it so hard for your opponent to get in. A 3-mana 1/4 reach is already a good blocker, and if you reconfigure this onto something else, giving anything +1/+4 in reach makes it massive. Your 1/1's now a 2/5 reach, your 2/2 is a 3/6 reach. Yeah, I'm going to take Web Spinner Cuff. It's probably the best card in the pack. And I don't know at this point what's more open, red-green or red-black. Looking like red-black, because we see a Virus Beetle, which is going to be perfect for us. Another artifact for our Reactor, another artifact to sack to Rakdos sack stuff. Shadow Walker's good. Not as synergistic with what we're doing. It's going to be a card I'll be happy to play one of in here. But I'll be really happy to play, 3-4 Virus Beetles. So I'll take the Virus Beetle. That Kami, the 5-mana 3/6, it's a great card for these Rakdos artifact sack decks, but it's the kind of card, again, because it's 5 mana and it doesn't synergize perfectly with everything, even though it synergizes with a lot of cards. It's the kind of card I only really want one of, so I don't take them super early. So Inkrise Infiltrator is good with ninjutsu cards. Iron Apprentice is good with modified and artifact matters cards, which we have both of those. Flame Discharge cares about modified. We've got multiple cards that care about having artifacts. I think I like Iron Apprentice here. All the computer bugs in the set are just fun flavor. True. Really good point. Computer bug. Virus Beetle. Simian Sling. This card seems fun to me. It's like Tormentor's Helm from Kaldheim, if you've drafted that card. It's just slightly more expensive to equip it, but because it's more expensive to equip, you also get a creature alongside it when you don't have anything to equip it to, so I like that. Papercraft Decoy. Again, this card seems like it would work in Rakdos, but it's a mana commitment when you're doing it. Super good with ninjutsu, just fine with Rakdos, I would say. So, Unforgiving One. Return a creature with mana value extra less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of modified creatures you control. 3 mana, 2/3 menace isn't that bad, and we have equipment creatures. We have creatures with +1/+1 counters, so we can go for modified stuff here. I'm going to take that over the Chainflail Centipede. Maybe the Unforgiving One can do some work here. This is going to be an easy Bloodfell Caves, perfect mana fixing for our colors. Brute Suit seems fine. 3 mana crew for 1, make a 4/3 Vigilance. It's also a hilarious name, so that's an option too, but take the Bloodfell Caves here. Easy Unstoppable Ogre. I'm trying to play a lot of artifact creatures. Easy Virus Beetle, the only card left in the pack, and it's one I'm happy to scoop up. Alright. Ooh, Reinforced Ronin is going to combo so well with our Dragonspark Reactor. So 1 mana 2/2 haste. At the beginning of our end step, we return it to our hand, and we can just spend 2 mana to discard it to draw a card if we don't have good combos with it. If we do have good combos with it, it's just 1 mana, we're playing an artifact every turn. So just keep putting counters on the Reactor until it has 20 counters on it and deal 20 to our opponent. That's living the dream, but even if we're not, the fact that we can always just discard this to draw a card is super nice. It would be really cool to wheel the Unforgiving One. The Undercity Scrounger I think is going to be awesome in these Rakdos artifacts decks because they give you more expendable artifact tokens. Obviously really good with Dragonspark Reactor, and pretty good with a lot of the other stuff in the set. But I'm going to take the Ronin first because I haven't played with the card yet and it seems super fun with Dragonspark Reactor and with an aggressive deck in general. Ooh, a black-red Mythic Rare, but it's not very good. Destroy everything that costs 1, then exile our graveyards that make a 3/3. A 3/3 trample. When it deals damage, put counters on it. I mean, it's a slow 3/3 trampler. And it doesn't work well with our deck. We have a lot of 1 mana value cards that we don't want to blow up. But it's cute. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. A 3/3 trampler that just gets bigger. A slow 3/3 trampler that just gets bigger. It's a mythic rare. For collection purposes, that'd be cool too. Although Uprising Renegade might be really big, really quick in this deck. A lot of modified creatures. I don't know. I'm going to be a big dork and just take Hidetsugu Consumes All. I don't think it's going to be that good. I don't think it's going to be as good as it looks. Because the first two abilities just do nothing. So it's just a slow 3/3 trampler, but if it goes off, keeps getting counters, it's going to be really big. Really happy to take Ironhoof Boar here. I love the expensive creatures with a cheap channel ability. This one gives you a nice combat trick early game and a giant trampling hasting game ender in the late game. So I like that. I also like Malicious Malfunction, but not in this deck. We're going to have a lot of cheap creatures that are going to die, but this seems like a good card for like a black-white, like slower kind of deck to use against more aggressive decks. I'm going to take an Ironhoof Boar here. Ooh, Mukotai Soul Ripper. That's going to be really good in our deck. 2 mana, 4/3 vehicle that costs a crew cost of 2. Whenever it attacks, you can sack an artifact or creature to put a +1/+1 counter on it and give it menace until end of turn. We will have expendable cards to sacrifice to it. This is going to be a threatening vehicle. Another Life of Toshiro Umezawa or Scrapyard Steelbreaker. Scrapyard Steelbreaker is one of the kind of linchpin commons of this deck. Really makes things flow really well. Just gives you a sack outlet that's pretty good. It's a threatening attacker against your opponent, but I just think Life of Toshiro Umezawa is just such a good saga. I'm going to take it over the Steelbreaker. Just take the good card in general over the synergy card there. Now we can take a Reckoner's Bargain. Nice little way to sacrifice a card and get some value off of it. Fine with that. This deck looks fun. Really excited to see what we get in the last pack. We already almost have a full deck by the end of pack 2, I'm guessing. Another Virus Beetle or Tawashi Songshaper. We already have 2 Virus Beetles and they're going really late, so I feel like we can pick up a third if we really want one, so I'll just take the first Songshaper here. I like either of those more than almost anything else here. Kami of Industry would be good too. I do like having one of that in the deck, so slamming one in here would be solid, but I guess we have a lot going on at 2 mana. Maybe we just slam in a Kami of Industry, but this card should go like really late, because I feel like we're the only deck that wants it. It's like just for Rakdos. So I'm still going to take Songshaper, I think. I might end up cutting Hitsugu Consumes All. If we pick up any more 1-mana cards, I think I will. Ooh, nice, cheap, excellent removal. Or Searchlight Companion. 1/1 flyer and a 1/1 spirit. Card is definitely good too. I think I like Voltage Surge a little more. We're going to end up being like the 14 land, just our curve ends at 3 deck. Because even Ironhoof Boar we can cycle on 2. We can channel it on 2 mana. That'd be weird. But I suppose it's a possibility. Let's move our removal to the side to see what our creature curve looks like. What is this? Terrarium, Kindled Fury, Aki Ronin, or Undercity Scrounger. Huge combos in the Rakdos artifact sacrifice decks. So, seems great to me. Brute Suit, Explosive Entry, or Bronze Cudgels. I don't want to play any of these, but I guess Brute Suit's the closest. We're always going to slam down Reactor as quickly as we can, so we'll keep that with the 2 drops. Although, we'll just take a look at the creature curve. This looks fun. You got wrecked earlier playing against a black-red deck with 2 Dragonspark Reactor. You're playing blue-white, had no chance, done by turn 4. That's wild. That is wild. Yeah, Dragonspark Reactor seems awesome. Like, you can use it as a win con if the game goes late enough, just deal a bunch to your opponent. But you can also just, use it turn 4 to blow up one of their creatures and do, 3 damage to their face at the same time. I'm going to take this Ninjutsu card over the Kami of Industry. I think this card played even better than the Kami did in our deck. And the Kami probably will pick up one in the last pack. It'll probably go pretty late. That being said, we did just get a second Shadow Walker, and I probably only want one of this. So maybe it's a bit awkward and doesn't pan out the way I wanted it to there. We could play an Ambitious Assault where you have enough modified creatures. This is just going to give the field +2/+0 and we'll draw a card every time. Not every time, but most of the times. What is this? 2 mana. Reckoner Bank Buster enters the battlefield. This sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. 2 mana Reckoner Bank Buster enters the battlefield with 3 charge counters on it. 2 mana, tap, remove a charge counter from it to draw a card. Then if there are no charge counters on it, create a treasure and a 1/1 pilot. So it's like Sunset Pyramid? I liked Sunset Pyramid. And you can always crew it for 3. So 2 mana for an artifact, 3 times you get to draw a card out of it for another 2 mana. And when you're out of charge counters, you get a treasure and a pilot. That one time. We'll try the Bank Buster. Seems pretty weird. Ooh, one of these cards is incredibly good in Rakdos Sack. So Kenzan Smelter. 2 mana for a 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 1 and sacrifice an artifact. If you do, create a 3/1 construct artifact creature token with haste. Super good for red-black artifact sack stuff, and an incredible combo with the Dragonspark Reactor. Another way to keep getting an artifact out each turn. Wow, another excellent pickup for us here. The Twin Shot Sniper, a removal spell, and an artifact creature all in one. Fits perfect in this deck. Worst case scenario, it's 2 mana to cycle it and or 2 mana to channel it. I'm always going to get that mixed up. 2 mana to channel it and deal 2 damage to any target. Which is already excellent. I'm really high on artifact creatures in this deck, so I'm going to take a Chainflail Centipede over an Aki Emberkeeper, although there's a Lethal Exploit as well. But at this point, we have Twin Shot Sniper, Voltage Surge, Flame Discharge, Seismic Wave, Dragonspark Reactor. Don't think I need more removal. Let's take another good artifact creature. We're probably cutting Shadow Walkers, so we just have nothing but artifact creatures in here. Maybe even Unforgiving one. We might not have as much modified as I wanted. We do have equipment to attach to things. Oh, wow. Oh my god, this pack is excellent. We have equipment to attach to things, but we can't do that till later in the game. We have some creatures with counters, which is good. Anyways, Oni Cult Anvil in here is like the build around black-red signpost card, because you just sacrifice this 1/1 construct and keep getting it back, draining your opponent for life. Anytime you sack other cards, it's going to be super good. So I think I'm just taking that here, but there's another Kenzan Smelter, which is also awesome. And there's another Flame Discharge, which is also awesome. I don't think we're wheeling anything here. I feel like if we take a Smelter or a Flame Discharge, we're not going to wheel an Anvil. And if we take an Anvil, we're not going to wheel either of these. So we just take the most important card. I think that's going to be Anvil. So it is in the deck. But yeah, Anvil specifically, also just really, really good with Dragonspark Reactor, because it's another way to keep spitting out an artifact token every single turn. Absolutely ridiculous. Love me another 2-drop artifact creature, the Tawashi Song Shaper. Super good. If we were the blue-red build, we'd be very happy to see Enthusiastic Mechanaut. But we're not. We're the red-black build, so Tawashi Song Shaper it is. I'm so pumped for this deck. This looks awesome. This is like the first deck that I drafted, except just better. That might not be entirely true, because we don't have... One of the cards in our first deck was like really, really good. It was a 1-mana 1/2, and you could spend 2 mana to sacrifice a creature or artifact to draw a card. We don't have one of those. That card was just excellent. I don't think we need another Reckoner's Bargain. I don't think I'm going to play a Gift of Wrath or a Bronze Cudgels, so I guess a Papercraft Decoy it is, and it should work fine in here. A 2/1 artifact creature, we can draw a card when it leaves the battlefield, so if we sacrifice it or it trades into something, I honestly don't think I'm playing Hidetsugu Consumes All. At this point, probably just going all in on just Deep Synergy, because the first 2 abilities they just do nothing. They just do nothing, so 3 mana, you do the first ability. Turn 4, you do the second. Turn 5. So on turn 5, you'll have a 3/3 trample. I feel like it's too late for that to matter, for it to get the counters and go crazy. Unless we have combos with that. I do like Tempered in Solitude. We might play that. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, exile the top card of your library, and you can play it this turn. Should be a powerful card draw engine. We have a lot of creatures and a lot of artifact creatures, so we don't need another Chain Flail dork. I don't think another Unstoppable Ogre would be like super great. Oh, actually it would. We'd be like massively aggressive, but we could take Omaiwamo Shindaru, but I'm not going to do it. I feel like if I took that, it would just be for memes. I don't think we need memes. We have plenty of dreams instead. Hey Cowboys Kid, how's it going? It's going super well. I'm very happy. We've had 2 7-win runs. One was recorded, the other was on stream, and then we had an 0-3. But this deck looks sweet. I don't think it'll 0-3. I don't think this will O3. It's like a super aggressive, really synergistic Rakdos artifact deck, which I'm super pumped about because I love artifacts and I love aggressive decks. I put my peanut butter with my jelly and we just have a delicious meal in this deck. Absolutely delicious deck here. It's super sick. So the Ironhoof Boar, we can cycle it on 2, so our curve's really low if we consider the fact that we can just channel these cards to do their alternate effects, the Twin Shot Sniper as well. Then our curve basically stops at 3, so I think we get to cut like 2 lands here, play a 15-land hyper-aggressive deck, and just go for it. Right, we have 47 cards in here. Reckoner Bankbuster. I guess this card doesn't make the most sense in a really aggressive deck because it's kind of a slow little card draw engine, little Sunset Pyramid type card, if you played that in Hour of Devastation. But you can crew it, and once you're done drawing cards off of it, you get a little pilot that can help crew it, which is nice. We're definitely playing Oni Cult Anvil. We're definitely playing Tempered in Solitude if we keep the curve this low and the mana this small. We have more than enough artifacts to go for Dragonspark Reactor as a win condition. Putting a bunch of charge counters on this to do a bunch of damage to our opponent and one of their creatures. Reckoner's Bargain might be unnecessary because we have Bankbuster drawing cards and Tempered in Solitude drawing cards, and both can draw a lot more over time potentially. But I definitely want to keep the removal spells. Definitely want to keep the Oni Cult Anvil as a great synergy piece. And I definitely want to keep the just a really aggressive Soul Ripper vehicle. So maybe Bankbuster gets cut. That's the only other non-creature card I think I'd cut, but I'm almost definitely cutting Reckoner's Bargain. So in terms of creatures, we've got 21 in here. We have 1,000,000 creatures. Probably don't need this many 1-mana creatures. We can probably cut one of these Simian Slings, if not both of them. Life of Toshiro Umezawa is just a great 2-mana saga. Turns into that 2/3 creature eventually. It's kind of one of our slower cards, so we can put it over here and consider this like a late game play, even though we technically put it on the board on turn 2. The Virus Beetles are awesome in here. The Smelter's awesome. The Song Shaper's good. Papercraft Decoy, maybe a lot of mana for this deck because we're getting this aggressive, so I'll put that to the side. Twin Shot Sniper's just incredible. Ironhoof Boar's incredible. Centipede's fine. Scrounger might be slow for the deck as well. Kind of a slow value engine. Does combo incredibly well with Oni Cult Anvil, but we're kind of hoping to close games out quicker than that, to where we don't really want a 3-mana 1/4. If our deck was a bit slower, this card would be awesome, with like Oni Cult Anvil to win the long games. But I think I'm trying to just cheese out some fast victories with this deck with like double Ogre. Yeah, Scrounger is very good. The first red-black deck that I drafted was a decent bit slower than this. It was more mid-rangey, and it was incredible in that deck. I also had a combo where I had the 1-mana 1/2 that you can spend 2 mana to sacrifice an artifact or creature. That card's busted with this, because you could just sacrifice a treasure token to draw a card from that point on. So good. It was really nice. And obviously it's a great combo with the Oni Cult Anvil as well. Turn those treasure tokens into 1/1s. It's definitely good. It would work well in here, but I think like I'm cutting down to 15 lands. I'm just trying to get a cheeky victory with this deck. Just going super fast. Yeah, this Chainflail Centipede by itself, it's basically a 3-mana 4/2 on attacks. So it's like a third unstoppable ogre. We have a lot of ways to modify our creatures. So I think Unforgiving One is going to be good. Right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. I guess we don't have as many ways as I thought we did. We have a few reconfigured cards like Bronzeplate Boar and Chainflail Centipede, but they won't be attached to something until quite late in the game. We have the Simian Slings, I guess, but they cost 2 to reconfigure, which is also a little expensive. Maybe Unforgiving One isn't as good as I want it to be. Maybe it's also too slow. So we need to cut 7 cards to play a 15-land deck. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We get to keep one of these cards. I kind of want to keep just one Simian Sling. Centipede felt slow for the times you saw it played. Pump is nice for a quick victory, though. It might be a bit weak, but I still really want artifact creatures in here, like really highly, for Oni Cult Anvil, Dragonspark Reactor, Smelter, all that. I'm going to try it out for sure. Maybe it'll play worse than I expect and we end up cutting it. I'm going to put a Simian Sling in here. So there's definitely an alternate version of this deck where we we play this deck as more of a reasonable human being, and play 17 or 16 lands and play the slower cards that are just really good value over time. Like Hidetsugu, Consumes All, Papercraft Decoy, Undercity Scrounger type stuff. But I want to get cheeky with it. Do we want Bloodfell Caves in here anymore? Or do we just want an untapped one-colored source? I feel like I still want Bloodfell Caves. I think we have more than enough stuff to play on turn 2 that we can turn 3 play this tapped and just play another 2-mana card. And sometimes we'll even have hands with multiple 1-drops, so we can just play a 1-mana card, then turn 2 play the Caves tapped and play another 1-mana card. I think we can find a way to fit this into our curve, even if we're casting something every single turn. I think I still like it. So we've got a massively aggressive Rakdos Artifacts deck here. What shall we call it? This is the first thing that came to mind, because I was like, I don't know, we're just like recycling a bunch of little metal. It's the aluminum recycling deck. Cycle a bunch of little small aluminum cans. We have 17 red and 7 black. I'm going to cut a swamp for a mountain. All right. Aggressive hand here, both of our colors, but we've got the 1-2-3 curve too. I don't know why I said but. There's no downside here. It's just straight gas. The mirror match, turn 1 Simian Sling from our opponent as well. These lands are beautiful. They're pretty expensive. I don't remember how much they were, but I remember I looked at them and I was like, that's kind of expensive, but they're so beautiful, I don't care. I'm like, I'm just going to use these every draft. So it balances out, it's fine. So we're playing against blue-red artifacts, which can also be quite an aggressive deck with quite the curves. All right, aggressive matchup it is. And Enthusiastic Mechanaut makes your colorless artifacts that cost 1 mana just completely free. So a free Ninja's Kunai from our opponent. They are 5k gems or 25k gold. Yeah, that's a lot. Should play a Song Shaper here and pass, or do I want to Voltage Surge the Mechanaut to keep them from playing a scarier card? I think we're on the defensive here because they went turn 1. They went turn 1 and they're casting like stuff for free here. You wish they were the draft lands instead of the ones that are in the packs? That would be awesome. That would be awesome, but Wizards got to get that cosmetics cash money. We said you bought the Wanderer bundle, so no judgment. What's the Wanderer bundle? It's got the avatar of the Wandering Emperor and stuff. Is that what it is? So it's avatar and card sleeve, nice. So Kumano Faces Kakazan is another really aggressive card. They do a damage to us twice, and then they make a 2/2 haste. So certainly an aggro matchup. Unstoppable Ogre is going to be really quite stoppable on this board. I'm still going to play it. It's the most power I can put on the board this turn. I should have played my Mountain instead. Because we're going to tie up some of our red mana into casting this Ronin over and over and over again. It's not quite as expensive, but it costs you a draft. Hey, if it's pretty and you enjoy it, it's worth it. So they have a 2/5 Runaway Trash Bot. Oh, I forgot. The second part of this saga puts a counter on their next play. That's very good. Alright, Ninja's Kunai going to trade into our 4/1. Now we just have a Mukotai Soul Ripper, but we don't have enough power to crew it yet. Plus, it doesn't have haste, so would not be a good reason to crew it anyway. I think we just play the Song Shaper and play the Soul Ripper, so it's ready to get out there and start being scary in the future. The Kumano Faces Kakazan has flipped to the Etching of Kumano. 2/2 haste, and they're going to reconfigure onto the Runaway Trash Bot, make it a 4/6 that deals the damage to us even if we block it. And it automatically has Trample, so we definitely don't have a good block for it. Even if we crew the Soul Ripper. We could double block with a Soul Ripper and a Song Shaper. We actually can't, because we need to crew for 2. If we could crew it without tapping Song Shaper, we could double block, but can't do that, so we'll take it. Papercraft Decoy. So when that leaves the battlefield, they get to draw a card for 2 mana. Dragonspark Reactor. We have the Dragonspark Reactor Reinforced Ronin combo. That's nice. Certainly nice. I don't think we're getting that aggressive. Thank you for the follow, Forest Funk. Yeah, I don't think we're getting that aggressive here that I want to attack with the Song Shaper when I can block with it and I'm down at 13. But I guess I can reconfigure Sling to the Ronin and attack with that. The only way they kill it is a double block. Because it's going to go back into our hand anyway, we can reconfigure to the Ronin, attack in, Ronin goes back to our hand, and then we still have the Sling to block with anyway. As if we never even moved it. I guess we could crew the Soul Ripper by tapping Song Shaper, but that seems awkward. We could also crew the Soul Ripper by tapping the Ronin. Actually doesn't seem bad, but they could still just like double block to kill, just like they could with the Ronin. And then we don't have the Soul Ripper untapped for blocks, for potential blocks I should say. Not that it is going to block well. Well, I'm going to block their 2/2s and 2/1s. I'm going to reconfigure onto the Ronin and attack in with that. So we take the Trash Bot damage again. But Song Shaper, Soul Ripper here, they can block the other creatures. Yeah, we go for the Sling on Ronin there. So next turn our Dragonspark Reactor can do 3 damage to them. And 3 damage to one of their creatures. Pretty good. Well, there's their Reinforced Ronin. They're just going to cycle it to draw a card. Fair enough, they don't have something that cares about artifacts entering the battlefield every turn like we do. I love our opponent's deck. I would be so happy to have their deck because they're just like blue-red artifacts. But I love our deck too, so it's all okay. Trashbot is definitely racing us. It's racing us pretty badly. Like, we're just never going to have a good block against a 5/6 trample. So we're down to 8 now. But we can try to outrace them crewing a Soul Ripper and getting haste damage in and then cracking a Dragonspark Reactor in the future. Armguard Familiar is kind of scary. For the reconfigure 4 to give something +2/+1 ward 2 if they slap that onto Trashbot, then it's super duper scary. So maybe, I don't know, we probably can't really Reactor that because of the ward cost anyway. Iron Apprentice, that's a draw I like a lot. That's a really great card to sacrifice to like the Soul Ripper on an attack. So I don't think I'm popping Dragonspark Reactor here, so how do I survive? Because they have a giant Trash Bot with Trample that could get +2/+1, so it's 7 Trample power. We could kill more of their creatures, so it would be 8 Trample power. We need to have a couple Toughness to block with. This is a really complex game here. I think I'm going to go for the Iron Apprentice. And I'm not sure if I want to pop Reactor Ronin again. I think I do want to just Sling Ronin again. Yeah, there's some really interesting, really complex games in this format for sure. I could crew the Soul Ripper. Oh my god. We're out of time now. I think I'm just going to go for the Ronin attack again here. We can crew the Soul Ripper with 2 1/1s now and have a 2/2 to block with. So we can block with a 2/2 and a 4/3 next turn. So could double block Trashbot if that's the only thing they attack with. I love how the Ronin plays with modified creatures. That's so cool. That's so nice. It's just like, alright, pick it up. Now my Sling is back. It's just a 1/1. A lot of really cool like synergies and stuff they've put in the set. They thought out really well. Reconfigure 4. The Runaway Trashbot is getting equipped, which is going to be painful. It's going to be a 7/7 now. But if they attack for just 7 here, we can just try to crack back for lethal. It shouldn't be too hard to do so. I guess it would be pretty hard, right? Because they're going to have a blocker left over, so we'd spend 4 to Reactor that. They go to 8 life and they have 1 blocker. 8 life with 1 blocker. We'd have a Ronin out, we'd have Song Shaper, that's 3 damage there, 2 damage there. They block the Song Shaper, take 1, 2 Soul Ripper damage. Like 5, we can put them to like 3 life on the crackback, which isn't enough. But we can't like double block and kill the Trash Bot, so how much damage are we supposed to stop here? you know? If we can't lethal them, then we just die. Just have to like live the dream and find lethal. I feel like even if I make some blocks here, we just die in 2 swings. Because I don't make any blocks that kill it. So just try to live the dream lethal next turn somehow. Alright. It's 4 mana to use the reactor. Okay. So we play a Ronin that buffs the Song Shaper and the reactor. So it's definitely a play. We do 5 damage to put them to 7 and kill one of their blockers. We don't have the mana to throw the sling on anything if we do that, but the sling guaranteed hits for 1 damage no matter what, so we sack the apprentice after a crew. I'm gonna not think about how to do 12 damage here. I'm just gonna think about what does the most damage. Okay? And what does the most damage is to crew like this. And then reactor to kill 1. And we kill the Iron Apprentice with an attack with Soul Ripper, right? We hit for 5 guaranteed. We've hit 6 to guaranteed. 6 guaranteed because the modified counter, that's 7. That's 7. Oh my god. Oh, all right. Let's go Mukotai Soul Ripper. I think we might have actually gotten more damage in. I crewed wrong. We would have gotten more damage in if I crewed with the Sling and the other 1/1. Because I was going to sack one of the 1/1s. So the difference is, do I attack with the Simian Sling or do I attack with the 2/2? Would have got more damage attacking with the 2/2 because the most damage they can block is blocking the 3/2. So I almost miscounted and died. I should have crewed with the 2 1/1s, but we still got there. Oh my god, still got there. Super stressful, and that was nice. That was a nice way to get there. Yeah, MTG bot, unfortunately still not updated. All right, we've got both colors. Not the perfect curve. We have some 1-mana creatures in here, but the curve starts at 2, close enough. See what our opponent's playing here in the Calm Shrine. I wish you could flip the board so we could just be chilling in the shrine with a pond in front of it. It's so cool. Alright, so they just go Swamp. So let's go Sokenzen Smelter. 2/2 at the beginning of combat. We can pay 1 and sack an artifact to make a 3/1 Hasting Construct. A Leech Gauntlet from our opponent, a 2/2 lifelinker that can give other things lifelink later. So, really annoying card to race with. I'm going to offer the trade, and I highly doubt they'll take it. Maybe they will. I don't want them to take the trade because we just play a 2/3 that can block their 2/2 so it doesn't get any damage in, and then next turn we get to just deal 2 damage to it with the Twin Shot Sniper to kill it and put a card on board, which will be really, really good. So that's why I didn't just pop it with one of these removal spells immediately. We kind of just nullify it for now and then kill it next turn, which is super nice. Sunblade Samurai getting cycled for a white mana, black-white from our opponent. Tawashi Song Shaper is the draw, really cool card, but not going to be as explosive as Twin Shot Sniper is going to be here. Boom. Goodbye, Leech Gauntlet. My apologies, Leech Gauntlet. I do like you a lot as a card. Just slapping a lifelink on something late game. A 2-mana 2/2 lifelink with no other abilities is already solid. So I love this card. Alright, Goshentai of Shared Purpose. We can blow that up with a Seismic Wave and not have to sacrifice a creature like we would to Voltage Surge. So I think we shall do that. Could also just play 2 Song Shapers. It's not like they block and kill anything. Yeah. And then having 2 Song Shapers on board with the Smelter's ability, those can attack super well in the future. Let's actually just play some Song Shapers. And the great thing is, even if they make 1/1 spirits off Goshintai, Seismic Wave is so good because it does 1 damage to all of those spirit tokens. So even if they make any, they're going to die next turn when I kill the shrine itself. And now if I kill it next turn, I kill it, then I turn one of these into a 3/1, which buffs both of these Song Shapers. Artifact Artificers. I think there have been a few of those in the past in like Esper. Back on Shards of Alara, I really want to return to Alara at some point. That is so cool. Sunblade Samurai gets cycled. They gain some life and grab another Plains. Really love the card. Gives you the land when you don't have it. Gives you the 4/4 Vigilance when you do. Oh yeah, Seismic Wave about to go off. Because we hit another mana, I think we just win. This is going to be insane, right? This is going to be insane. I hope you're ready for this. I don't know how much damage this is, but it's a lot. Oops. I don't want to sack an artifact. Submit 0. Go to combat. Sacrifice one of the 2-power creatures that isn't a Song Shaper, and we do extra damage with that, and we're doing 3 damage instead of 2. They're out. They don't care. Whatever the math is, it's too much. They're over it. I'm going to do the math. Oh no! Oh no! I don't know what the math would have been, but I said I was going to do the math and then just instinct count in there, and it was like, alright, next game. Let's go. Forgot to add the fear part on top. That's at least +1 or +2. What's the fear part? Oh, it looked scary. It looked scary, so yeah. Auto-lethal. Turn 2 Dragonspark Reactor. If I want to max out the counters on that, but I can also just curve out like a mad lad, which is probably better. Ooh, start drawing cards with Tempered and Solitude. Can't do it immediately, so we'll just do that later. Get the curve outs. I'm sorry, Dragonspark Reactor. Could have so much counters on it, but be waiting till we just send in for a bunch. I'm not gonna attack the Apprentice into that, am I? I could if I hold on to Iron Boar or whatever, but then it still trades. Yeah, that's bad. That is bad. Let us not. Let's play the Bronze Plate Boar pre-combat for an extra damage. Unless they wish to trade, which is possible, because this is a scary, aggressive start. Alright, no trade. Their Imperial Subduer is a nice aggressive card, tapping down one of our blockers every turn. I would be very happy to race our opponent. I don't think there are a lot of decks that can outrace this. This board state plus hand. So I think, ooh, alright, well, hit us for 5. That's a start. I think I'm still greatly winning the race, though, because of what's in our hand. So I don't want to attack alone, so I don't want to play Tempered in Solitude here, so I'm actually just going to play Life of Toshiro Umezawa for 2 more damage, and Dragonspark Reactor. So I should play Dragonspark Reactor pre-combat to get another Song Shaper damage out. Since they're completely tapped out, we don't need to hold on to the Ironhoof Boar combat trick here. So let's just get +2/+2, more damage here. Really race in, hitting for 9, putting them to 7. Maybe they've got a lot of life gain. They are white-black. That would very much help them race. Dockside Chef. This card's awesome. That's the card I had in my last Rakdos Sacrifice deck. Really good. Sacrifice, Outlet, and card draw engine all in one. Love the card. Ooh, Twin Shot Sniper. Also an incredibly good card that I am also happy to draw. They're down to 7 life now. -1/-1 to any of these doesn't really matter. The ramen looks delicious, yeah, with the eyeball in it and the gears. Because we have Ironhoof Boar, I don't think I want to like -1/-1 one of theirs. I think I just want a +2/+2 one of ours. We could attack in and maybe Ironhoof Boar for potential lethal, or we can just play Twin Shot Sniper. Dragonspark Reactor finds lethal really soon, because it keeps getting counters, and it's going to do as much damage to them as we have counters. I think I want to just kill Dockside Chef, or do 2 damage to their face with Twin Shot Sniper, and then just not attack. Yeah, I might just want to hit the face with Twin Shot. I mean, hitting one of their creatures is really good too, because all of our creatures have 3 power then. So if all of our creatures have 3 power and they only kill one of them, I think it's actually more damage to just kill the Subduer and attack with all, lose one of our creatures to deal 3 damage to them instead of 2. And then they're down to just a 5/5 on their board, and that's it. I feel like this is more damage in the grand scheme. So, sorry, Bronzeplate Boar. Oh, wow, they just take it all? So they're just dead to Reactor, I guess. Trying to find lethal on us, I suppose. Alright, we'll see. They're getting ninjutsu if they want it. Because I'm not going to block here. Well, just in case they have the most wild ninjutsu card in the world. I don't see how we could possibly not have lethal. They would have to play a blocker to block both of these. And get rid of Dragonspark Reactor. And then even if they do, we still have +3/+1 trample. If we have one of these left, we probably still trample for lethal. Oops. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like we just Dragonspark Reactor. That should be it. Alright. There's the concession. Dragonspark Reactor rather than attack in, because if we attack in, they have a lifelinker to block with. And then they might, you know, they take 2 but like gain 3, and then are still alive with like 1 life. Alright, another excellent curve. We just have so many 1, 2, 3 mana cards. Most of our hands are just going to go turn 1 card, turn 2, turn 3. It's always sad not to be on the play with a deck like this, but can't really do anything about that. Are sagas all legendary? Are they all technically legendary? I guess it doesn't matter, because now I'm going to play Smelter instead of a saga. But it might matter later. I know they're all historic cards. I know that. I'm unsure. It doesn't say on the card, so it better not be. I'm gonna be really mad if it turns out they're legendary. They probably aren't. I think I just got that impression because when they came out in Dominaria, they were like classified as historic, which all the legendary cards are. I guess they wouldn't need to specify sagas as historic cards if they were legendary, because all legendary cards are historic, so yeah. So Bronzeplate Boar from our opponent, cool. We could attack with Sling, and then we trade the Sling into it by playing Toshiro Umezawa post-combat if they go for the block. So probably just don't go for the block here. But if they do, works out for us. Alright, nice. -1/-1 it is. Goodbye, Boar. My small reconfigure card will kill your big one. And then I'll gain 2 life and make it 2/3. We're playing against blue-red again. Always happy to see it. You love to see it. Blue-red artifacts. Give me more of that. Make a blue-red artifacts deck in every set. So they can play these cards until the end of their next turn. So they have Seismic Wave they can only play for a turn, so let's make sure not to play anything that'll kill. So just play a 2/3 artifact creature. They can deal 2 damage to it, but then the extra 1 damage doesn't go on anything. So I think we just play Circuit Mender. If we play Virus Beetle, they can shoot that for 2 and then get a tiny bit of value off the seismic thing. But we play Circuit Mender, they can't do anything with it. Turns out a monkey and a story beat a boar. Nature is crazy. Kamigawa was wild. All you need is one monkey with a good story. What's more powerful than a story? And who has the best story? None other than the Simian Sling. And that's why he will be the king of the 7 kingdoms. Alright. They've got 4 cards in their hand. They have their burn spell, but their burn spell doesn't do anything here. Alright, just for value, burn spell to the face. I like it. Get max value off of their draw 2 red spell. Just commit to it. Just like, no, I'm going to draw these cards. I'm going to cast every card I draw. Now we could just go ahead and Virus Beetle. Make them discard a card here. And then start doing some extra damage with our second Life of Toshiro Umezawa. Kami's Flare. Okay. Glad they did that there, because now they can't do it in response to this. Although I would have buffed the Circuit Mender, and they probably wouldn't want to kill that because it would let me draw a card. So probably doesn't matter. They're down to 2 cards in hand now, and they're not casting anything with 6 mana. So I'm confused. Just more removal. Another Kami's Flare to kill the Circuit Mender. It's a fine deal for us because we draw a card off the Mender. Okay, another removal spell it is. Let's draw a card. Ooh, Bronze Plate Boar. Love to just slam a Centipede onto the Virus Beetle, but when I could just slam down 2 more creatures, that seems better to me. Rather than get a little more immediate damage here, we'll just get a lot more damage next turn. So 2 cards in their hand, we've got quite the board state. Yeah, Chainflail Centipede's just +2 attack does look pretty nice. If we had thrown it onto the Beetle, or if we just have it on the Centipede, it's a 4/2 attacker. It's a really bad blocker is the thing with this card. It doesn't help you at all if you're on the defensive. So that's the big problem with it. So I think in a deck like this, where we're just trying to be on the offensive 100% of the time, probably fine. Alright, Kami of Industry brings back a Bronze Plate Boar for a turn, so we take 3 and then it dies. And now they have a 3/6 to block with, though, and that's a problem. Ooh. No, they don't. They don't have anything to block with. What silly words I have said. My board is unstoppable. Alright, now they're at 5, and if we just attack all next turn, I don't see how we could possibly not have 5 damage. So I don't think we even need to move the Centipede around. We'd rather have a wide board state than like one really big attacker. Just go wide around the Kami. Attack everybody, they block that, and take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The giant enemy crab, but they still go block there, take 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Alright, another excellent hand here. No black mana for the Soul Ripper, which is a little awkward, but we just start the game just running here. With Reinforced Ronin to hit for 2. Is it better to Ronin and smack in for 2 right now, or to play Iron Apprentice and then hit for 1 next turn and then 1 the turn after? I'm going to go Ronin for maximum Dragonspark Reactor value. Because if we play Iron Apprentice first, then we don't get the charge counter on Reactor from the Apprentice, but if we play Ronin first, we still get the Ronin counter on Reactor later. Probably supposed to just play Iron Apprentice because it stays on the board forever. Pretty fine with going Ronin 2. So I can hit them for 2 again to put them to 17 and play an Apprentice, or I can just play the Reactor. We're only losing on 1 Reactor counter if I play Ronin Apprentice now and then Reactor Ronin next turn, and we get more damage in that way. Might be a little weird. I'm just gonna keep jamming in. Just get as much damage with Reinforced Ronin as we can. This 1 card is gonna have dealt 6 damage to our opponent next turn. 1 mana, deal 6 to your opponent, put a bunch of counters on a Dragonspark Reactor. Is that card worth it? I think it's worth it to me. We're 1 mana away from using a Dragonspark Reactor, which is currently 2 damage to a creature and 2 to a player. Already pretty good. We did draw another black card, so things are getting pretty awkward mana-wise. That could come back to bite us, but we have quite an aggressive start here. That's true, yeah, aggro works really well against decks with the enchantments like the Modern Age. Alright, so now we do hit the black source, which is excellent for our Chainflail Centipede, but I might prefer to cast Unstoppable Ogre here to just get in for 3 immediately, put them down to 11. And then we have a 4/1 which can attack into the Web Spinner Cuff next turn too. See, I'm going to play the Unstoppable Ogre here. And the Ronin. Attack 3. Our Reactor is now 4 mana to deal 4 damage to one of their creatures and 4 to their face. And they're down to 11. They have 4 mana now. Moon Snare Specialist. That's going to be okay here. We've got a good enter the battlefield effect on the Ogre. Does stop us from really attacking this turn, because we can only shut off 1 blocker. We have 5 mana to play around with, so we can like play the Centipede and the Ronin, I guess, because we only have 1 black mana. So we could play Soul Ripper plus Ogre and just not play the Ronin this turn. That also seems fine, because the Soul Ripper is going to be a good attacker, being able to hit for Menace. Our Reactor is going to be just absolutely massive, as you would expect. Then next turn we can like play Ronin, crack the Reactor, and just go hog wild. I think I like that. I think I like Soul Ripper Ogre. If I had double black, I'd prefer to go Soul Ripper and Centipede this turn. But I can't do that because I don't have double black. So ideally, I'd like to save Unstoppable Ogre's Enter the Battlefield effect for later. Alright, Dragonspark Reactor is doing 6 to their face and 6 to one of their cards now. So they need artifact removal or they're just going to die to the Reactor. They've got another bounce spell on the Ogre again. Because I might as well crew the Soul Ripper. They don't have a good attack here. Now we have a 4-3 to block their 1-4 2-2. Yeah, they're on a clock here without me doing anything. Dragonspark Reactor it's just getting ready to kill. Oni Colt Anvil makes that clock so much faster. That's absurd. What a great draw. Oh my god. I think we kill them like next turn now. Like it's really fast. Because we drain them for a life here. And then we're not really worried about crackback, so we might even equip the Soul Ripper and just attack in to shred a bunch of stuff. Yeah, Oni Colt Anvil and Ronin, both to make Reactor bigger, is insane. So if we attack with Soul Ripper, it's going to attack as a 6-5, because we can sacrifice the Apprentice to it and put a counter on it. Attacking with a 6-5, their only way to kill it is to triple block. When our card dies, we get a 1-1 out. We could even drain them for life with the Anvil if we want instead. We have to sack something to do that, so I'm probably just going to sack the 1-1 to do that after an attack here. Yeah, I think I attack, sack the Apprentice, now I'm attacking with a 6-5 Menace. And I get a 1-1. And then I'll sack that 1-1 in the end step to drain them for a life. So we drain them for a life, they're essentially at 10. And then next turn, yeah, Dragonspark Reactor, Oni Colt Anvil, just super mega lethal. Oni Colt is whenever an artifact leaves, so it would work when Ronin goes back to hand. It's what you control. Leave the battlefield. This card works with Ninjutsu? That is the dumbest card. Oni Colt Anvil is so good. My lord. We can sack the artifact at any time, so no reason to do it right now. Unless we want to sack the Ronin specifically, but I don't. Still like the combo if somehow they survive. Moon Snare Specialist, they'll target our creature and then we'll sack it to drain them for a life. They're down to 10. We play the Ronin next turn. We then have 10 counters on Reactor. Go for the kill. You're just waiting for somebody to do 20 with the reactor. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, because it's probably never going to have to happen, because all the red decks are somewhat aggressive. So everybody's just like, all right, I'm going to do 12 or whatever they're at with it, you know? All right, show me the instant speed life gain, opponent. Show me the instant speed life gain. If you do not show me the instant speed life gain, take 10. Also, I get a 1/1 for fun. All right, that'll do it. 5-0 now, getting straight value out of this draft. I was gonna say out of this deck. I mean, that too. This deck does produce tons of value. Here we go again. I did win a lot of games tonight with just 10 damage to the face, which is hilarious. Because I had the 10 damage to the face mythic rare spell, and now 10 damage to the face with Dragonspark Reactor. Guess we should enjoy it while it lasts. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if people start to value main decking enchantment and artifact tank. I'm surprised people aren't doing it already. Like, from second one of the format, I was like, you should just be playing Fate into Antiquity. Before I ever drafted a deck, I was like, yeah, just if you have a naturalize, put it in the deck. Put it in the deck. You're going to play against either artifacts or enchantments, even if you're not going to play against both all the time. 95% of games you'll play against one of the two. Alright, so I'm just going to shoot the Lizard Blades before it does anything fancy, because that card is scary. That's true. Green's is sorcery speed, which is rough. Get our reactor down before I play all this stuff, I think. And just do the reactor Ronin combo again. This 1-2 punch is going to be really infuriating, I feel like, as the format progresses. Yeah, to the point where it's like, yeah, just shoot the Ronin. Shoot the Ronin so fast when you see that happen. All right. Uh-oh. I'm actually a little bit nervous now, because we're running out of things to do. We have 6 lands here. Not what we want to see in the 15 land deck. So we actually have to draw some gas in order to win this game. We don't just have a guaranteed Dragonspark Reactor win or anything here. Simian Sling. At least our opponent isn't really pressuring us that hard. Like, we take 3, which is fine. We can easily offer a trade for a Simian Sling if that's their only blocker. Oh. And, yeah, I guess it's just incredibly possible that we just do draw straight gas. And then we're fine. Trade for Virus Beetle here? No, no trades. Fair enough. Sniper's going to shoot the Song Shaper over the Sling, because all of our cards on board can trade into the Sling. Might be better to kill the Sling, though, because the Sling makes their later creatures bigger, because it does give +1/+1. So I'm not actually certain. But I'm fine with just shooting the 2/2 immediately. Oh, I love the Steelbreaker. We didn't manage to put a Steelbreaker in this deck, but it would have been pretty sweet. That being said, just draw more lands here, so get got, Steelbreaker. Get out of my sight. They're down to 2 cards in hand, and they're down to 6 life. Fingers crossed, we draw some cards here, because they can definitely stabilize, and a 3/4 flyer's a way to do it. We can attack both here. We just hit for 1 and lose a sniper. Definitely not worth it. Alright. Mechanaut, and they get a copy of it with the Specialist. But we block those. We block those all day. We just don't block the 3/4. So we're on a pretty slow clock, taking 3 a turn. Oni Cult Anvil is exactly what the doctor ordered. That's very good. We get to sacrifice our apprentice to drain them for a life and make our reach creature a 3/4. So now they can't get damage in with any of their flyers. And now we just start hitting them for 1 a turn, and we have inevitability. We kill them in 5 turns. plus we're gaining life while we're doing this. So they have to draw removal for Twin Shot Sniper or removal for Oni Colt Anvil. Super good draw there. All right, removal for the sniper. I mean, they get in fast with that. We're down to 8. Life of Toshiro Umezawa hit them for 3. We get cracked back for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is big. They're definitely dead next turn with this, because we put them down to 1 life. We just need them to not draw damage to us, because we take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll be at 2 life, because we gain a life with the anvil. And they'll be at 1 life, because they lose a life to the anvil. Okay. You've got 1 turn, opponent. Got 1 turn, 7 flying damage on board, though. And we're at 9. Give our creatures -2, -0. That will not do it. So no hasting, no combat trick. We got there. Burn spell does it too. I'd like to say good game to my opponent, but it's making me do this right now, so sorry, opponent. There we go. This is a really good hand. There's no 1-drop, and we're on the draw. So a couple things keeping it from being just the most nuts thing in the universe. But it's still a good hand. I mean, nothing to sack to the anvil. Yeah, nothing to do with the anvil turn 2 is pretty rough, but yeah, we probably wait to play the anvil until we have things to sacrifice to it, actually. So just play the virus beetle first. But the hand just keeps getting better. Now we have a life of Toshiro Umezawa if they play anything with 1 toughness. So if they cycle the card, that makes a 1/1 mana dork or anything like that. They play the 2/1 ninjutsu card that can draw cards. Alright, that's a 3/2. So life of Toshiro Umezawa doesn't do much. Don't love Unstoppable Ogre here either, because we're just getting in for 1 damage, so I kind of just want to play the anvil. I guess I can life and then make this a 3/3 and they won't trade. Let's go for immediate damage first, just be as aggressive as we can. Use the Oni Colt Anvil as the kind of finisher once we run out of stuff to do. It's our way to make sure we keep chip damaging them. But rather than go for chip damage in the early game, let's go for just the beefy damage. Just slam for 3 by doing the +2/+2 twice. Alright, Bearer of Memory hits us for 3, and they have 4 mana untapped here. What is going on? I'm going to hold all my instant speed stuff up in case something really weird happens here, and just attack with the Virus Beetle. I guess they could do the +3/+3 untap it instant, and then I'll Voltage Surge it in response. Okay, so they don't do that. So we hit for 3, and they're down to 14, and then they have all this mana up, and I really don't want them to counter this Twin Shot Sniper. How's it going, Hofo TV? The Gauntlet face cam is on tonight. I do face cam on Twitch. Oh. No counter spells, 1 time. No counter. Just gonna hope they're holding 4 mana up to play, I don't know, cycle a boar and grab a land. It's gonna be a counter. They're gonna cycle a crab. Oh no, maybe it's give it hexproof till end of turn? I wouldn't be that sad about that. And if it fully resolves, then I'm incredibly happy. Oh, it's just a removal spell. Alright, shut off my 2/3. Oh no, are they stuck here? 4 mana, just immediately past the turn. Just out of stuff to do, and we're 1 mana away from just dropping a massive haster. We have a perfect card to sack to our Oni Colt Anvil right now, and we could play a 4/1 post-combat. I feel incredibly good about our chances this game, which I'm super happy for, because this would be a 7-0. Let's see. They're at 12 life. I mean, the odds of us even just finding lethal next turn are through the roof here. And that's one of the big ways to do it. Just slam down a Trample Haster. They block there. That's the most damage they can stop. They take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess it's not lethal. Not actually lethal, but it is big. More than big enough to just go for this. When you see blue lands and an immediate pass, you just think Hullbreaker Horror. Well, they only had 4 mana out, now they only have 5. That's it! That's 7-0 for the next Rakdos aggro deck. Oh my god. I love the Rakdos artifact sack deck in this format. It's so cool. The Oni Cult Anvil's ridiculous. Twin Shot Sniper's ridiculous. Most of the cards in this deck are ridiculous. Yeah, what a run. 7-0 on that one. Well, I think that one's going to get edited together and thrown up on YouTube. That'll probably be tomorrow's draft. Although I guess then the YouTube people have to watch 2 Rakdos artifact drafts in a row. It's going to be wild. But yeah, that was a sick draft. We'll take one last look at the deck here before I claim the prize and end the YouTube video, because I'm pretty sure that was super awesome. I'm going to upload that to YouTube. So yeah, one more look at the deck. Incredibly aggressive. We cut down to 15 lands even because our curve with the Ironhoof Boar's ability to channel is so low that it basically ends at 4 mana, and even our 1/4 in the deck can cycle for 2 mana. Well, channel for 2 mana. The YouTube folks get to watch 2 Rakdos decks in a row. That's a good way to put it, Cowboys Kid. But yeah, just a ton of really cheap removal, cheap aggressive creatures. Tempered in Solitude actually kind of sucked in this deck. I don't think I should have been running this, because every single game we were just wanting to attack with our whole board. We were never like going to choose to attack with one creature to draw more cards. I think this card is going to be good in the right decks. I don't think this is the right deck. So that is one thing that I am noticing here that shouldn't be in the deck. We probably could just use another Simian Sling for another 1-drop over that. But I'm really happy with how I cut the deck, because it did end up being just incredibly aggressive, being able to cut down to just the 3 or less mana cards, only 15 lands. I'm happy that I cut Hidetsugu Consumes All. It would be really slow for this deck. As powerful as it looks, as fun as it looks, the first 2 abilities don't do anything, and then it's a 3/3 trample on turn 5 if you had cast it on turn 3. So just really slow for this deck. Papercraft Decoy, also pretty slow for this deck, but I think it would have been better than... Definitely would have been better than like Tempered in Solitude. Probably the next best card. And then Unforgiving one would have been a cool one to try out. We had a few ways to modify our creatures. It didn't happen super often, so we probably wouldn't bring anything back too often. But we've got like 1 mana creatures in the deck, so we don't have to modify that much to bring things back. So I could see a good argument for Papercraft Decoy or Unforgiving one in here, but that's about it. Undercity Scrounger is definitely slower than the kind of synergy we're doing this time around. We could run like one of Dakuchi's Shadow Walker as a 4-drop Game Ender ninjutsu card too. It'd be okay in here. But yeah, Aluminum Recycling, the red-black aggressive Rakdos artifact sacrifice deck. All kinds of descriptors to that deck. Goes 7-0, that's 2,200 gems and 6 packs. So if you're watching on YouTube, as always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. If you want to catch more of this content, you can catch me live on the Twitch channel in the description below, or just stick around on YouTube for daily drafts for as long as I can keep it up. And yeah, just thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again soon.